Boker Tov, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Agudath Israel Etz Ahayem Synagogue here in Montgomery, Alabama. I am Rabbi Scott Kramer. Hope everyone is having a nice Shabbat so far. We are praying out of Sidor Lev Shalem, and we begin today's service, page 103, with Birchat HaShachar, the blessings of the morning. Please rise if you're able. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher natan la'asech v'vin alavkim ben yom u'ben layla. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, shesani b'tzomo. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, shesani ben charin. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, shesani Yisrael. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Pokeach Ivrim. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Mabi Sharamim. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Matir Asurim. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Zokev Kufufim. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Rakal Aretz al Hamayim. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Hamechin Mitzadei Gaver. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Shasalikot Sarki. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Oz Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Ot Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Hanotein la'oev koach. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Uteneinu hayom v'chayom l'chein l'chesed rachem b'bnecha v'nechoen v'digmalenu chasadim tovim. Baruch et Adonai gomer chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom. You may be seated. We continue page 112. Hayom Yom Shabbat Kodesh B'chayom Halavi'im Umrim B'vet HaMikdash Mizmar Shir Lehum HaShabbat. Odinuvun besev deshinim chanim yu lagid keshanat supri velo avlatabo. Page 120, Psalm 30. Mizmor Shir Chanukat Ba'ile David. Hafachta mispedil machali pitaktis agivas genisimcha laman yizmecha v'dleido marinai Elohai li'lamodeka. We rise, page 122, for Baruch Shamar. Yai lai 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 la lai la lai la lai yai la lai 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 ya la lai la lai la la lai yai lai la 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 lai. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch she'amar v'haya olam, Baruch hu, Baruch Oseh v'reshit, Baruch Omer v'yoseh, Baruch Gozer u'mkayim, Baruch merachim al haaretz, Baruch merachim al habriot, Baruch mishalem sachar tov l'reyav, Baruch Hailad v'kayam lanetzach, Baruch podeh matzil, Baruch Shemo. Yai lai la la la, ya la 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 la, yai la 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 la, Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Ho'ela v'harachamam hamhula b'fiyamo mishubach. U'mafar bishun chasidav avadav shirei David avdecha. Nehalelech Adonai Eloheinu b'shvachot v'izmirot. Yachid chelmi melech mishubach v'deshma gadol baruch et Adonai melech mehulal batishbachot. You may be seated, page 136. Ashrei yoshvei veitecha od yalucha selah. Dilat Adonai ber pivi v'reiko b'ser shem kachal elam v'ed v'nachne nevarech yam yatav yalam. Hallelujah. Page 141. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 b'kadsho, hallelujah, b'kiyauzo, hallelujah, v'gvurotav, hallelujah, karav, good love, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 beteka shofar, hallelujah, beneva vechinor, hallelujah, betof umachol, hallelujah, beminim vihugav, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 v'tziot le'shama, hallelujah, v'tziot le'trua, kol enshama te'aliyah, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol neshama te'aliyah, hallelujah. Kol neshama te'aliyah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Baruch Adonai le'olam amen v'amen. Baruch mitzion shcheinu shlem hallelujah. Baruch Adonai Elohim Elohei Yisrael nifla levado. Baruch Shem kavado lilam yimlech v'et koharetz. Amen, amen. Page 141, whatever. 145, sorry. Nishmat kochai tevarech et shimacha Adonai Eloheinu. מיד מלך משפלך מיהרוך לך אוהל הגדול גיבור והנורא אל עליון כני שמיים וארץ נהלל לכון שבחך ונפרחן ברכת שם הקודשך כאמור לדוד ברכי נפשי את אדוני וכל קרבי את שם הקודשו העבד אז מוזך הגדול בכבוד שמך הגיבור לנצח והנאמן נורותיך המלך היושב על כיסא רם ונישא שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני לישרים נאווה תהילה בפי ישרים תתהלל ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון חסידים תתרומם ובקרב קדושים תתקדש ומקהלות רבבות מכל בית ישראל להודות להלל לשבח לפעול לרבים לברך להלל ולקלס על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו ברכות והודות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני מלך גדול בתשבחות אל הודות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלכהו כעולמים. We rise, page 149 for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Baruch Hu et Adonai Mevorach Baruch Adonai Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam Yotzei v'reichoshech Oseh shalom Avarei et hakol. You may be seated, page 150. Hakol yoduch v'hakol yishabechucha. Ein kirchach Adonai Eloheinu b'olam hazeh v'yein zulad machei l'chai ha'olam haba. Efes b'yatacho le'nemut Mashiach v'yein do melech ha'mashinu l'tchiyat ha'mitim. El Adon hakol ha'masim baruch u'mvorach Befi kol neshama gadlo v'tuvo malei olam dato tvuna sovavi moto hamit goe al chayot hakodesh v'nedar bechavod al merkava Zechotu mishor lifnei chiso Chesed v'rachamim lifnei chavodo Tovim miyorot Shebara Eloheinu Yitzarem bedad bevina uvaskel Koach ugvura natan bahem Liod moshlim bekerev tevel mleim ziv umefikim noga nazivam bechol haolam שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים בימה רצון גאונם ביער וכבוד נותנים לשמו צלה ורינה לזכר מלכותו, קרא לשמש ויזרח אור, והקים צורת הלבנה, שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום, כל צבא מרום, תפארת וגדולה, צרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש, לאל ששבת מכל המעשים ביום השביעית עליו ושבע כיסא כבודו, page 152. תתברך מושיענו השבח מסעדך ויאמרי שעשיתי יפרעו חסדם, page 153. תתברך צורנו מלכין וגורלם ברי קדושים. וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושת תורה בשורב זמרה, ברכים שבחים דברים מריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שמו אל המלך הגדול, הגיבור והנורא קדוש הוא. וכולם מקבלים עליהם או מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונודרים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש לאותם מנחת רוח בשפה ורבנים הקדושה, כולם כחנונים ואומרים ביראה, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך על הארץ כבודו. ואופנים וחיות הקודש פרש קדם מנצל מצרפים לימתם משבחים ואומרים, ברוך אדוני ממקומו לאל ברוך נימות ייתנו. אור חדש על ציון דאי ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. אור חדש על ציון דאי ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר עמי אור, page 154. אהבה רבה אהבתנו אדוני אלוהינו, חמלה גדולה ותרחמת עלינו. אבינו מלכנו בעבור אבותינו, שבטחו בך שבטחו בך אבינו מלכנו. ותלמדנו חוקי חיים, כן תחננו תלמדנו. אבינו האב הרחמן המרחם רחם עלינו, ותן בליבנו להבין, להבינו להשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות, וקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה. והננו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה ויראה את שמך. ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, כי בשם קדשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועת אתה, ובנו בחרת מקום ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול, סלע באמת, להודות לך, ויחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך וקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, והיה אם שמוע תשמעו אמצותי אשר נאמרו. ויאמר אדוני משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת להם, וישוב להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורתם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תסגרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. לדוד קיים ושמו קיים, וחיסון נכון מלכות טובים נתו לעד קיימת, ודברכם. אמת שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ואל אבותינו מלכנו מלך אבותינו, גואלנו גואל אבותינו, יוצר נצור ישותנו פנינו מצילנו מלם שמך. אין אלוהים זולתך, עזרת אבותינו אתה הוא מעולם. רם ונישא, גדול ונורא, משפיל גאים, ומגביה השפלים, מוציא השיחים, פורי ענבים, ועוזד העלים, ועון אל עמו, בעת שב העם אליו, תהילות אל עליון ברוך וברך, משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכן שירה בשמחה רבה. ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך Boilim Adonai, mi kamocha, nedor bakodesh, nora tehilot, o seifele, shira chadasha, shibachu geulim, shimcha asfatayam, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל ובטחנו ממך יהודה וישראל גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. We begin the Amidah together, page 159. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah El Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Davim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chastei Avot U'Mevi Goel Lefnei V'neihem L'man Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer Chokeru Mashiach Magin Baruch Atah Adonai Magin Avraham Ufokei Tzaraham Atah Gibor Le'lam Adonai Mechaye Metima Torah L'Hoshia Mashiv Ruach Marid Hashem Mechakel Chayim Bechesed Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim Samech Noflim Berofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato L'Shenei Afar Michamocha Bal Gevura Umidom Melach Melech Memid Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman Talachayot Metim Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayeh HaMetim Mekadesh et Shimecha Ba'olam Kishem Shabakti Shimoto Mishmei Marom כך כתוב היד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך על הארץ כבודו. אז בכל רעש גדול וחזק משמיעים קול, מנסים למצרפים, למטב ברוך יאמרו, ברוך אדוני ממקומו, ממקומך מקינו ותופיע, ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון בקרוב, בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון, תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים. V'yeinu tirena, tirena malchutecha, kadavar amor b'shirei uzecha, al yedei David Mashiach tzidkecha, Yimloch Adonai le'lam, Elohai Yitzyon, Ledor Vador, Hallelujah. Ledor Vador Nagid, Godlecha, Olenetzach Netzachim, Kedushach Tenakdish, V'shivachach Lemipino Le'mush le'lam va'ed, Ki Emelech Kadov Kadosh Ata Baruch Ata Adonai, Ha'il HaKadosh. transition to our virtual Torah service, page 168. Please rise when the ark is open in the middle of the page. Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai v'ein k'maasecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch le'olam voed Adonai oz li'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo v'sholom avarachamim heitiv avirtzoncha et Zion Tivnech Omod Yerushalayim Tivnech Omod Yerushalayim Ki vecha levad batachnu Melech Echam v'nisa Adonai Olamim Vayehi ben Soaron Vayomer Moshe Kuma Adonai V'yafutzu oyevecha V'yanusu nisanecha Mipanecha Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Udavar Adonai Merushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Ni'amo Yisrael B'kedushato Barich Shemed Mavi Alma Barich Yitrach V'yatrach Yeherutach Im Amach Yisrael Allah V'ferkan Yiminach L'chazeh Anna V'dcha D'Kudisha Barich Bebe Yamarachet Velishme Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Anna Hemmar Tushbechan Be Yamarachet Be Yamarachet Velishme Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Anna Hemmar Tushbechan Yairava Kadama Vetidach Libi Bi'otraita Vetashlim Mishalim V'liba V'liba Decholama Yisrael L'tavuchayim v'lishmam Amen. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo
Adonai Shemo yachdav lecha Adonai agedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod kicho b'shamayim uvaretz kicho b'shamayim uvaretz lecho Adonai amamlacha v'yamid naseh lecho l'rosh romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu L'Adam Raglav Kadoshu Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu L'Har Kadsho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. You may be seated. We are reading the last portion of the book of Exodus Pekudei. Usually this is put together with the previous portion, Vayakel Pekudei, but since this is a leap year, most of the portions are not combined. So Pekudei comes from Exodus chapter 38, verse 21, and the reading is on page 564. Eile Pekudei HaMishkan, Mishkan Ha'edut, Asher Pukad al Pi Moshe, Avodat Halvim, Beyad Itamar ben Aaron HaKohen, Uvtzal'el ben Uri ben Chur, Lamata Yehuda, Asa et Kol Asher Tziva Adonai et Moshe, Vito Oliah ben Achisamach, Lamate Dan, Charash v'Choshev, V'rokeim, Batachelet v'Uva Argaman, Uvatolat Shani, Uvashesh. And these are the records of the tabernacle, the Mishkan, the tabernacle of the pact, which were drawn up at Moses' bidding, the work of the Levites under the direction of Itamar, son of Aaron, the priest. Now Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hor, of the tribe of Yehudah, had made all that the Lord had commanded Moses. At his side was Aholiab, son of Achizamach, of the tribe of Dan, carver and designer and embroiderer in blue, purple, and crimson yarns, and in fine linen. So we come to the end of the description of the tabernacle. I don't know if this is the third or fourth time we've gone through all of the pieces and how they all came together. But what is clear, though, is Bezalel is the head craftsman. There's actually an art school in Jerusalem called the Bezalel Institute. We don't hear anything about Bezalel and outside of this particular portion. Apparently, he had a sidekick, Oholiab. But in the end, it was, as I'll talk in a minute, it was Moses who put this all together. Second Aliyah, I'll just read two today. Exodus 38:24. Kol hazahav asui lamlacha bechol melechet hakodesh vayi zahav atnufa teisha v'esrim kikar 730 shekel b'shekel hakodesh וכסף פקודי העדה מעט כיכר ו1,775 שקל בשקל הקודש בקע לגולגולת מחצית השקל בשקל הקודש לכל העובר על הפקודים מבין 20 שנה ומעלה ל600,350 ויהי מעט כיכר כסף לצקת את אדני הקודש ואת אדני הפרוכת מיד אדנים למעט הכיכר, כיכר לעדן. All the gold that was used for the work, in all of the work of the sanctuary, the elevation offering of gold, came to 29 talents and 734 shekels by the sanctuary weight. The silver of those of the community that were recorded came to 100 talents, 1,775 shekels by the sanctuary weight. A half shekel a head, half a shekel by the sanctuary weight, for each one was entered into the records from the age of 20 years up. 603,550 men. The 100 talents of silver were for casting the sockets of the sanctuary and the sockets for the curtains, 100 sockets for the 100 talents, a talent, a socket, and of the, is that 120? No, that was it. So if you're an accountant, if you love this time of year of getting our taxes together, this is a perfect portion, so you can get an idea of the sheer weight of this thing and the cost of it. And then thrown in the middle is how many fighting men that are above the age of 20 are mentioned as well, and I'm not exactly sure why that is there. But again, we are coming down to the end of the book of Exodus, so the sanctuary, the Mishkan is now finished, and then we go into the portion of Vayikra, Leviticus, where we find out how it is actually used, from what sacrifices are brought and for what reason they're brought, and then goes into the ethical and purity laws of Judaism. Leviticus is a very interesting book, which we begin next week. For Mishaberach for healing. Mishaberach Avotein Avram Yitzhak Yaakov Seraf Gorachov V'Leo Hu Yivarech V'Rapeh Et Marjorie Allen, Charles Miller, Leon Kaplan, Lynn Sholoff, Kay Bowie, Esther Scheuer, Susanna Urbala, Ruby Goldfield, Deanna Barber, Susie Bierman, Elizabeth Fomby, Malka Amster, Betty Ehrlich, Michelle Zucker, Davina Machado, Stephen Hirschman, Taraz Bat Ruth, Marcia Hutz, Billy Canary, Taylor Browning, and Jacob Mullis. Bert.
And home, Doug Chabon.
Amanda? Ephraim Abraham ben Esther Batcha, Sarah Shoshana bat Nami Rivka, Yael bat Nami Rivka, Nami Rivka bat Gittel, Gittel Tamar bat Miriam, Noah Barone, and Noah Argamani. Viet kolchim bekila kedusha Agudath Ezrat Tzachayim v'kilen tebo beth or HaKadosh Baruch Hu malei rachamim aleihem lachazichem rapatam vishlach lemer forshlim menashemayt nefesh v'udaguf betoch sha'ach le'Yisrael shabbatil mizok refuah karov alavash shabagalav zman kariv and omar amen. Now wish all of those suffering refuah shlema a quick and complete healing. We turn to page 183 and we rise to return the virtual Sefer Torah. Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki niskav Shema Lavado, Hodo Haleretz, V'shamayim, Vayaren Keren Le'ambo, Tehila Lecho, Kasidav, Livnei Yisrael Amkarovo. Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Mizmor LeDavid, Havul Adonai B'nei Eli, Havul Adonai Kavod Vos, Havul Adonai Kavod Shemo, Ishtachavul Adonai B'Havrat Kodesh, Kol Adonai al Hamayim, El HaKavod Hilim Adonai Hamayim Rabim, Kol Adonai Ba'Koach, Kol Adonai Be'adar, Kol Adonai Shober Arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et al Zehal Banon, Vayarkidem Kemo Egel, Lebanon v'Sirion kemo ben rehemim, Kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel ayalot, Vayechesab yavod, Uvehechalo kula umer kavod, Adonai Lamahul Yashav, Yeshav Adonai Melech Le'olam, Adonai Oz Li'amo Yitain, Adonai Yivarech et Amho V'Shalom, Uvnucho Yomah. Ki lekach tov natati lachem matorati al tazovu et chaimi lamachazikim ba v'tom chera meushar derachea darcheno Shalom, Hashivenu Adonai, Elech Adonai, Shuva Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu, There's a cartoon, wonderful cartoon, which shows an applicant for an IKEA job entering the employment office for an interview. On the floor are parts and pieces of a chair in need of assembly. The man behind the desk tells the applicant, "Take a seat." The cartoon needs no explanation. Anyone who has experience with chairs, cribs, tables, bookshelves, and other sundry furnishings requiring assembly knows exactly what it is like to see what seems like endless bolts, screws, planks, boards, and sockets together with the multiple page booklet, which looks as though it had been written in a foreign language. Some of us are better at assembly than others, but it is daunting. Once done, however, the feeling of satisfaction seeps in if we do it well. The members of our household bless us for completing the work, and then we may promise ourselves never to do it again. When I lived in Israel for my third year of rabbinical school, one of our teachers at the UJ, Rabbi Dan, had just purchased an apartment, a condo in Jerusalem that hadn't been lived in yet. Interesting, he offered it to me and another student that was 10 years older than me. And funny thing is his wife wanted to have us over to check us out, to make sure we wouldn't destroy the apartment. As soon as we walked in the door, she saw how old we are, and she just broke down laughing. But when I got to Israel, I got there first. Ronnie was a couple weeks behind me, and and I found the entire apartment filled with IKEA furniture in the box, and I proceeded to attempt to put this stuff together. Some of it I just couldn't. They had to send a guy out to do it. And then I got to the oven. The oven was a German-made oven with instructions in German. I could not, and there was a dial missing. So I could not figure out. Ronnie and I, to this day, till the end of our stay, we only guessed at how to use the oven. Anyway, but that experience with that IKEA furniture was classic. In this week's Torah portion, Pekudei, there's a similar scene. The Torah tells us, then they, Israel, brought the tabernacle to Moses with the tent and all its furnishings, its clasps, its planks, its bars, its posts, and its sockets. The chapter then continues to list every piece, all the furnishings, each part and parcel required for final assembly. The chapter ends as follows, and when Moses saw that they had performed all the tasks as the Lord had commanded, so they had done, Moses blessed them. In other words, the blessing from Moses came before the assembly. That didn't make sense. I can see Moses blessing the people after the construction of the tabernacle. Why did he bless them after seeing all the parts neatly ordered on the ground before him, but still needing to be built, put together? Furthermore, the Midrash Tanchuma, which is a Midrashim on the book of Exodus, tells us that the children of Israel were soon at wit's end. They had done everything required for the building of the tabernacle. Every piece, every section, every socket and plank had been correctly manufactured. When the Israelites, however, tried to put the Mishkan together, no sooner had they tried, but it fell down. Kind of like that bicycle that we used to put together with that last bolt, couldn't figure out where it went. Then they turned to the chief architect, Bezalel, to assemble the pieces, and he too failed. All the wise people of Israel took a turn at putting together the tabernacle. They too were unsuccessful. It was truly an IKEA moment. And then Moses saw that the construction of the tabernacle was not happening. He turned to God and complained. So God told him to assemble himself, to which Moses said, "O Lord of the world, I do not know how to put it up." The sages tell us that Moses had been perturbed for a while. It seems that the tabernacle and its construction had been taken out of his hands entirely. Moses had nothing to do with the nuts and the bolts and the central sanctuary of the wilderness. He was merely a supervisor. So God took it upon himself to tell Moses that while others in Israel could create the separate pieces of the tabernacle itself would not stand unless Moses personally set it up. Others can create the pieces, but Moses, only you can collect the pieces and make it a whole. And, says the Midrash, as soon as Moses began, it was as though the tabernacle built itself. And here's where we depart from this IKEA metaphor. The Torah, by indirection, was teaching us that while Moses blessed those who fashioned the nuts and bolts of the Mishkan, only Moses could infuse it so that when completed by his hands, the presence of God would inhabit the Mishkan. Moses gave the structure a soul, which builders and architects, no matter how skillful, cannot do. A stunning house may often be cold and sterile until it is inspired by the spirit of life. That was Moses' job, his vocation as leader and lawgiver. The Mishkan almost rose by itself, not because Moses was more dexterous or handy, but because he, above all the others, understood the Mishkan's inner meaning and purpose. It was Ralph Waldo Emerson who wrote, "The highest praise we can attribute to any writer, painter, sculptor, builder is that he actually possessed the thought or feeling with which he has inspired us." Moses possessed that thought and feeling, and thus only he could actually assemble the Mishkan, which would lead the way through the wilderness, through the presence of God into the promised land. And the only thing I can add really to that is this synagogue, this building, is absolutely beautiful. It cost a lot of money to put up, and a lot of people came together to provide the funds for putting it together. But in order for it to be complete, it requires all of you, those online and in person. Without the souls that pray in this building, this is just brick and mortars. That's all it is. It's just a structure. What makes it a synagogue is us. A synagogue is a place of gathering. A synagogue can be anywhere. It can be in a field. Okay, but because we gather here to pray, this becomes a holy place, and it needs everyone. All of those, and I talked about this at length last night, all of those within driving distance should make an attempt to be here in this building, praying with us, because there's nothing like interacting with a human being in front of us, being able to sit down, have a meal, and talk. Yes, you can do that on Zoom, up to a point. So I encourage all of those that are online to please consider joining us next week as we gather for Shabbat once again. Shabbat Shalom. We now continue with Musaf. Ask everyone to please rise and join me, page 185. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Hagibor v'Hanara El Elyon Gomer Chasadim David v'Konei Hakol V'zocher chastei avot, u'mevii goel levnei bneihem, lamhan shemo b'yahava, melech ozer v'kedo Mashiach u'magin. Baruch atah Adonai, magin Avraham, u'fagei Sarah, atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayem et imato rabbo Shia, Mashiva Ruach Mori Hashem Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed Mechayei Meitim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Rofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishene Afar Micham Lochem Bal Givurot Umidom Melach Melech Memit Umechayeh Umatmiach Yeshua V'nemanat Olachayot Meitim Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayeh HaMeitim Naritzacha V'nagadishcha Kesod Siyach Tzarfei Kodesh Hamakdishim Shimcha B'Kodesh Kakatu Ayad Naviyacha V'kava Ze El Ze V'yamar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzvaot Melech Haaretz Kevodo Kevodo Malei Olam Mishoratav Shoalim Zeh Lazeh Ayen Mikom Mikom Kevodo Leomatam Baruch Yameru Baruch Barnai Mikomo O Yifen Merachamim V'achonam Yam Yachadim Shemo Erev Avoker Bechol Yom Tamid Pamayim B'Yava Shema Omrim Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Hu Eloheinu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu Vehu Yashmienu Yashmienu Berachamav Shenit 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 Le'enei Kochai Leot Lachem Le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Uvdirei Kachcha Katuv Lemor Yimloch Adonai Le'elam Elohayich Zion Ledor Vador Hallelujah Ledor Vador Nagid Godlecha Ulenetzach Netzachim Kedushat Denatish V'shivachach Mipino Lo Yemush Le'elam Va'ed Ki El Melech Adova Kadosh Ata Baruch Ata Adonai Hoi Lekadosh Dekanta Shabbat V'tzit Kabinotecha Tzivita Page 204. Enk Eloheinu, Enk Adonenu, Enkim Malkeinu, Enkim Hoshienu, Enk Eloheinu, Enk Adonenu, Enkim Malkeinu, Enkim Hoshienu, Mich Eloheinu, Mich Adonenu, Mich Malkeinu, Mich Moshienu, Enk Eloheinu, Enk Adonenu, Enkim Malkeinu, Enkim Hoshienu, Nodeh Leloheinu, Nodeh Ladonenu, Nodeh Lemokenu, Nodeh Lemoshienu, Enk Eloheinu, Enk Adonenu, Enkim Malkeinu, Enkim Hoshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Enk Eloheinu, Enk Adonenu, Enkim Malkeinu, Enkim Hoshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Enk Eloheinu, Enk Adonenu, Enkim Malkeinu, Enkim Hoshienu, Atahu Shektiru, Avotenu lefanecha, Et Ketoret Asamim, Enk Eloheinu, Enk Adonenu, Enkim Malkeinu, Enkim Hoshienu. We rise, page 205, as the ark is open for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabea, l'avdon hakol, l'tei kedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asan kugoye avatzot, V'lo samanu k'mishmachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'goraleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim, u'modim, l'fnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, she'un notei shamayim v'yosei haaretz, Moshe Bikara Bashamayim Ima, Ushchinatu Zo, Begavre Mehomim, Hu Eloheinu Einod, Emet Malkeinu Evazulato, Kakatu Betorato, V'yadat Hayom V'ashemota Elavavecha, Ki Adonai Hu Elohim, Bashamayim Ima, V'al haaretz mitachat Elohim Elohim Gagadu b'toratecha Adonai mloch le'olam v'oed v'nehemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom mahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo Echad. You may be seated. This week we observed our yard sites for Edith Carletta, Rose Bardach, Gary Zaslavsky, Rachel Jaffe, and Elizabeth Hobby Wright, and one that we laid to rest yesterday, Rhonda Wise Blitz. I'm sorry about that. And we give condolences to her family, to her son Sam, and her brothers, and actually brother-in-laws, Jeff and Russ. Those observing Yahrzeit and those who mourn, please rise, page 207, and join me for the Kaddish Tov, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash meraba v'yoma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayichon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agalav izman kariv yimahu amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach le'elam mamel ma'ya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudisha b'richu Leilam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran b'yoma v'yimahu amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimahu amen. Oseh shalom v'imramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimahu amen. You may be seated. Thank you for joining me for this lovely Shabbat service. Shabbat will end with Havdalah tonight with the Alabama Community Virtual Havdalah via Zoom, and that is at 7:30. There is religious school tomorrow at 9:30 here at Agudath Etz Ahayem, and the kids are coming dressed up for Purim, which is actually a week from tonight. March 23rd at 6 p.m. We will have Purim services both in person and via Zoom. And let's see what else is going on. So please come and there's a spaghetti dinner. Those online can't have the spaghetti dinner. Sorry, not even virtually. I think that's about it. I'm on one, yes. We will go ahead and complete today's service, page 211. Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'ed nasa v'chefso kol Azai melech shemo nikra adon olam v'yacharei kichlotako levado yimloch nora adon olam v'u'aya v'u'hoveh v'u'ya b'tifara adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'ed nasa v'chefso kol hazayim shemo nikra adono v'hu echad v'yein sheni laham shelo lahachbira adono lam beli reshi beli tachlit v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra adono lam asher malach Terem kol yitzir nivra li'ed nasa v'chefso kol azay melech shemo nikra adon olam v'hu eli v'chai goali v'tzorchev li b'yetzara adon olam v'hu nisi yomanos li minat kosi b'yom mikra adon olam Asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'ed nasa v'chefso kol azay melech shemo nikra adon olam biyado afkid ruchi b'yetishan v'yaira adon olam v'maruchi geviati Adon oli v'lo ira adon olam Asher malach b'terem kol tzir nivra li'ed nasa v'chefso kol azay melech shemo nikra adon olam Shabbat